We're not just talking about a crime boss, we're dissecting the operational blueprint of a modern transnational criminal organization, the Hells Angels, as run by one of its most calculated and elusive leaders, Necati Arabaci, known as Neco, or the Godfather of Cologne. His story is a chilling masterclass in how an outlaw biker can leverage a global brotherhood, exploit international law, and turn an entire continent into his criminal territory from the safe haven of exile. The German blueprint: control through vice and violence. To understand the scope of Arabaci's current power, you must look at the foundation he laid in Germany. His methodology was simple, brutal, and highly effective. Establish a chokehold on an entire criminal market, generate immense consistent revenue, and enforce control through shock and awe violence. The Red Light Empire and the bouncer, Cartel Arabaci, a Turkish-German outlaw, rose to infamy in the 1990s in Cologne, Germany. His power base was the Red Light District, specifically the infamous Kölner Ringe entertainment area. His genius was not in competing in the vice trade, but in controlling the infrastructure around it. Arabaci's clan reportedly controlled the security, or the bouncer scene, at a significant number of major nightclubs. This was not a side business, it was the mechanism of enforcement. By controlling the doors, he controlled who entered, who saw what, and, critically, the flow of money, drugs, and information. The bouncer was the Hells Angels' foot soldier, ensuring that protection money, extortion was paid, and that rival gangs were physically blocked from establishing a presence. His core and most horrific business was the sex trade. Arabaci was convicted in 2004 for pimping, human trafficking, and extortion. He operated or controlled several major brothels across the German Rhine-Ruhr region, including venues like the Colosseum in Augsburg. His gang preyed on vulnerable women, grooming them only to exploit them as prostitutes, turning human lives into a constant lucrative revenue stream for the Hells Angels' war chest. The disturbing truth is that his control reportedly continued even after his initial imprisonment, demonstrating the strength of the command structure he put in place. This German blueprint established the Hells Angels as an unassailable entity in the local organized crime scene, a model that would later be exported across Europe. The transnational shift, weaponizing exile. Arabaci's criminal career should have ended with his 2004 conviction and subsequent 2007 deportation to Turkey. Instead, his expulsion, intended to neutralize him, proved to be a critical miscalculation by the German authorities. It did not end his power, it merely granted him a new, more powerful, and legally untouchable operational base. Upon arriving in Turkey, Arabaci immediately assumed a high-profile strategic leadership position. By 2010, he had been appointed president of the Hells Angels MC Nomads Turkey. This was a pivotal moment in his career and in the structure of the Hells Angels European Command. The Nomads chapters are often reserved for the club's top-tier, internationally mobile members. These chapters do not have fixed geographical territory like a traditional chapter, for example, Hells Angels MC Cologne. This lack of a fixed turf signifies two things: immense prestige and a mandate for transnational operations. As a Nomads president, Arabaci wasn't just running a local club. He was positioned to command operations that spanned multiple national borders, effectively becoming an exiled regent for the European Hells Angels. Arabaci's leadership style from Turkey involves using his Nomads chapter to project power back into Europe, often triggering internal conflicts to enforce his dominance or take over rival territories. The Bruderkrieg, Brother War. German investigators suspected that Arabaci, operating from his Turkish base, was directly responsible for inciting a brother war in 2013. He allegedly orchestrated an attack on a Hells Angels chapter in Krefeld, Germany. This action is a clear example of how he runs the organization. He enforces the internal discipline and hierarchy of the Hells Angels in Europe, even remotely, by using his Nomads as an assault force to eliminate internal rivals or enforce loyalty. As his influence grew, Spanish authorities issued an EU-wide arrest warrant for Arabaci, accusing him of membership in a criminal organization, extortion, drug trafficking, and continued involvement in brothels in Spain. This shift in legal focus, from German local pimping charges to Spanish transnational organized crime, confirms that he successfully exported his Cologne blueprint across the continent. He runs the organization by setting up an interconnected network of vice and extortion franchises, all ultimately reporting up the chain of command back to his Nomads chapter in Turkey. The legal fortress, Arabaci's inaccessible shield. The most frustrating yet effective pillar of Necati Arabaci's operational success is his masterful exploitation of international law. His status as a high-ranking Turkish-German dual national operating from Turkish soil has created an inaccessible legal shield that Interpol and the EU judiciary have struggled to penetrate. The final piece of the legal puzzle is the most absolute. Turkey does not extradite Turkish citizens to foreign countries, a principle that applies to dual nationals like Arabaci. Operation from a safe haven, this law allows him to live a lavish public life, often cited enjoying a playboy lifestyle in locations like Dubai and Monaco, and frequently returning to Turkey without the fear of being shipped back to Germany or Spain to serve his full sentence or face new charges. He has weaponized national sovereignty. For a criminal organization, having a high-value leader who is geographically mobile but legally untouchable is an extraordinary strategic advantage. It guarantees continuity of command and protects the organization's most valuable asset from long-term incarceration. The cycle of arrest and immediate release. The modern phase of the Arabaci saga is defined by a bizarre, recurring cycle of detention and release, a testament to the complex contradictions of international law enforcement. On multiple occasions, Turkish authorities have detained Arabaci based on international warrants, for example, June 2018, July 2020, only to release him shortly thereafter due to insufficient evidence or other legal maneuvering. He was arrested in Izmir in July 2020 for connection to a murder investigation, but was released later that same month. This pattern suggests that while authorities can physically detain him, the non-extradition barrier, combined with the power of his legal teams and the club's influence, is often too great to sustain a long-term detention or prosecution. The ultimate threat attacking the justice system. The sheer ruthlessness that defines Necati Arabaci's leadership and his organization's operations was best demonstrated by his direct, chilling attack on the justice system itself. The most shocking revelation during Arabaci's German custody exposed the Hells Angels' willingness to eliminate any individual who posed a threat to their business model. During his detention for pimping and human trafficking, police had bugged Arabaci's visiting room. On the wiretap transcripts, authorities uncovered a plot. Arabaci was allegedly planning to have the lead prosecutor in his case, Jürgen Botzum, assassinated, hiring an Albanian contract killer. The prosecutor was immediately given bodyguards and police protection. This plot, a direct attack on the judiciary, highlighted that for high-ranking angels, the law is not just an obstacle to navigate, it is an enemy to be eliminated. Though the case against the hit plot sensationally collapsed due to a mistranslation of some of the wiretap transcripts, the threat was credible and had severe personal consequences. The prosecutor, fearing for his life after the credible threat, fled Germany in 2007 when Arabaci was deported. This one act is the ultimate operational statement. Necati Arabaci runs the Hells Angels with the implicit and sometimes explicit threat that his organization is capable of dismantling a high-profile prosecution and forcing a state official to abandon his post and his country. His power exceeds the club. It enters the realm of state-level intimidation. The story of Necati Arabaci is a micro-history of the Hells Angels' evolution into a sophisticated 21st century global criminal enterprise. He built his empire on the horrific crimes of human trafficking and extortion in Germany, and then solidified his command by rising to leadership of the Nomads Turkey chapter, demonstrating a willingness to direct violence and organize a brother war across the continent. How does Necati Arabaci run the Hells Angels? He runs it as a transnational corporation built on a franchise model where local chapters generate vast revenue through vice and violence, and the ultimate command is shielded by national sovereignty laws. His recurring arrests and immediate releases are the final, most disturbing proof that the legal system is not a single seamless net. For a well-resourced, high-ranking outlaw like the Godfather of Cologne, national laws and legal loopholes can be weaponized into an effective shield, turning the entire European continent into a playground for his operations. The fight will continue, on the highway, in the brothel, in the courtroom, and across the international border. The disturbing truth is that his influence, unlike his freedom, has never truly been arrested. What do you think is the biggest weakness in the global legal system that allows criminals like Necati Arabaci to dodge long-term justice? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to dig deeper into the criminal world of outlaw gangs, make sure to like this video and share it. And don't forget to subscribe for more true crime and history deep dives.